Hello, this is News Now, reaching you live from iBrand News Studios, Lagos, Nigeria. Coming up, Senate rejects Lauretta Onochie as INEC Commissioner. Tunisian president receives his first dose of vaccine. Iran to hold talks on prisoner exchanges with the United States. CBN to develop tertiary institutions entrepreneurship scheme. Thanks very much for joining us on News Now. And here are top stories making headlines at this hour. I'm Michael Nath. President Muhammadu Buhari will on Tuesday host the 109 senators of the 9th Senate to dinner in Vella. The scheduled meeting between members of the upper chamber and Buhari was convened in a letter received from the State House and read during plenary by President of the Senate Ahmed Lawan. The Senate on April the 27th, 2021 reached a resolution for the leadership of the upper chamber to schedule a meeting with the President to enable all 109 senators meet with them to discuss the issue of insecurity in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari has presented the 2022-2024 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper to the Senate for consideration and approval. Buhari, in a letter read by Senate President Ahmed Lawan on the floor, said the submission of the MTEF and FSP was to allow lawmakers ample opportunity time to consider and pass the 2022 budget in December to meet up with the January-December budget cycle. Details shortly. Now, the Senate on Tuesday rejected the nomination of Lauretta Onochie as National Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Chairman of the committee, Kabiru Gaya, in his report said Onochie did not satisfy the provisions of the Federal Character Principles. The Senate, the Committee of the Whole, subsequently voted against her nomination. Rivers State Governor Nyesom WIKE has described the attempt to impose Lauretta Onochie on Nigerians as a National Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission as a bad omen for Nigeria's democracy. The governor made the assertion at Obiwale International Conference Center, Port Harcourt, where he gave account of his stewardship in 6 years that has ushered Rivers State into an era of unprecedented development in the 23 local government areas of the state. Governor WIKE said the most fundamental consideration in the appointment of a candidate as an electoral umpire in a democracy is the elimination of bias.
One, that we do not need a soothsayer to tell us that to allow the old ways of doing things and much vilified status quo to continue to prevail in the electoral system as recommended by the Senate version of the bill will be a complete disservice to the nation and a recipe for disaster for our country. Again, I hope Mr. President still cares about his legacy and will therefore prevail on the APC-controlled National Assembly to give the nation an electoral act with positive provisions on electronic voting and simultaneous transmission of results from the unit level to prevent rigging and guarantee trust, credibility, and confidence in our elections. Nigerians are in desperate need of relief from the daily incidents of kidnapping and mindless killings across the country by insurgents, herdsmen, bandits, and militia groups. The APC-led government must step up and be alive to its constitutional responsibility to protect lives and property in all parts of the country, or admit its lack of capacity and resign before the country collapses like a pack of badly managed cars on its hands. Enough of the excuses, ineffective actions, and buck passing.
The Senate, after considering the report of its Committee on the Independent National Electoral Commission Tuesday, confirmed the appointment of 5 national commissioners for the nation's electoral umpire. The nominees who were confirmed were Professor Muhammad Sani Akala Katsina, Professor Kunle Ajayi Ekiti, and Saidu Ahmed Jigawa, Baba Bella Northeast, and Abdullahi Zuru Northwest. Also, the Senate, following the recommendation of its panel, stepped down the confirmation of Professor Sani Adam from North Central because of the petitions against him. Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has debunked claims about an alleged appointment of a governor over some parts of Borno State by Boko Haram and Islamic State of West African province, reaffirming that he is fully in charge of the state. Zulum said this on Monday while briefing State House correspondents on the purpose of his meeting with the President, General Muhammadu Buhari, at the presidential villa in Abuja. He debunked the claim, dubbing it as an unauthenticated, and added that his administration is not investigating the issue. Earlier, Boko Haram and ISWAP had claimed that it appointed one Abakaka as the governor under a new leadership restructuring by an interim council. Now, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, GBAJABIAMILA, has distanced himself from bills seeking to gag Nigerian press, saying that such bills would not survive under his leadership of the Legislative Chamber. The Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, Nigerian Guilds of Editors, and the Nigerian Union of Journalists, which make up the Nigerian Press Organization, has sponsored a record front-page protest against the ongoing amendments to the Nigerian Press Council Act and the National Broadcasting Commission Act. Major newspapers in the country had published the advertorial prominently on their front page on Monday. According to GBAJABIAMILA, the contentious clauses in the bills would be amended or removed. At an award ceremony organized by the House of Representatives Press Corps in Abuja on Monday, GBAJABIAMILA disclosed that he had questioned the sponsor of the bill and demanded a copy, which he would read as soon as possible. Now, barely 2 weeks after the People's Democratic Party lost one of the pillars of the party in ZAMFARA state, another bigwig has dumped the party. This time around, it is in Yola, the capital of Adamawa state, that was thrown into a carnival of a sort as three serving All Progressives Congress APC governors stormed the city to formally receive Senator Grace Jackson Bent, a member of Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party, who recently defected to the ruling party. Governor Abubakar Badaru of Jigawa State and Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State and Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State were represented by Deputy Lawrence Onochie, were all ground along said APC bigwigs to receive a big catch from PDP. In an elaborate ceremony attended by many party bigwigs within and outside Adamawa State, the National Chairman, Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Committee, Mai Mala Buni, welcomed the new entrant, saying her decision to join the ruling party at this critical time was apt. Malam Buni, who was represented by former Senate President Ken Namani, said in recent times that the party has been poaching on the opposition political parties, crippling their support base.
To respect each other and maintain peace and harmony. Each and every person who is a member of the party is entitled to fight for any position from councillor to president.
I'm convinced, more than anything, beyond any reasonable doubt, that the time is right for me to move on with my political career.
Any organization, parent that went into destruction has no any value to that organization again. So we as political party, we have seen, we witnessed to have a successful somebody that was destroying us internally that left the party because she has not contributed anything to the coming of this government. As far as we are concerned in PDP, she has no more value to the party, adding to the party.
Now, 2 persons have been lost to the new Delta variant of the novel coronavirus in Oyo State. 1 person is also isolated and receiving medical treatment at one of the state isolation facilities, while contact tracing has started. The state incident manager and coordinator of the Emergency Operations Center, Labode Ladikbo, recently confirmed this development. According to him, the variant would have entered into the state through movement of people traveling around the world, but urged people to adhere to the guidelines and extra measures advised, noting that adhering to such will go a long way to help stem the tide. On the likelihood of fear of further outbreak of the variant in the state incident manager said he foresees a situation in which if people actually adhere to those regulations that were spelled out, they might be able to tame that tide. When asked on the impact of the COVID-19 vaccine given to people earlier, Oladekbo said the number of people vaccinated so far is so minute when compared to a larger population. As such, people needs to be cautious. Now, the wife of Osun State Governor Boyega Oyetola Kafayat has inaugurated a 3-day Osun International Fashion Week. The initiative was to resuscitate the people's consciousness towards socio-cultural revival. Declaring the week open at the distinguished event center, Oshobo Oyetola described the initiative as a round peg in a round hole, noting that the concept was coming at a time the nation had resolved to diversify its economy for sustainability.
I foresee this as the beginning of great signature events which will make Osun to be well known in the arts, culture and tourism world.
We have to embrace our culture, especially the great ones, which are enduring legacy from generations to generations. We have to expunge the harmful practices, which are so-called culture, because we are the custodian of culture.
We are coming to Osun, and this is like the beginning of what we are doing. We want to do great things. We want to empower the youth, because we know in Osun State we have about 70% of people that are self-employed. So we want to make sure to empower more people, because there are no jobs coming from the government. But when
Now, a group under the aegis of Ruth Child Foundation, in collaboration with the Initiative for Young or Youth Awareness on Migration, Immigration, Development and Reintegration, have paid a visit to Ogbe Secondary School in Oredo, local government area of Edo State, to renew their back-to-back awareness campaign against irregular migration and human trafficking in the state. The coordinator and executive director, Solomon Okodua, said they were revising or revisiting schools to reawaken the campaign against the scourge of human trafficking.
On the school. From today, I believe that my students will have a different orientation about life. They will not say no to different fake promises that come their way, taking them abroad to better their life, or engaging them in Yahoo business of getting quick money. They now know the best way to get quick money is through education.
It was very clear to the students. We demonstrate the antics and styles of traffickers to them. We let them know that there are people they can confide in case they have any pressure from any other family or friends of living in Nigeria in such a way that is against their wish. We give them confidential number to reach out to, and that is how we wanted to be guided. To be guided with their mind and their thoughts, to know the kind of friends they keep, to know the kind of information they receive, and so that they are mind to process vital information that will project them to a positive future.
You're watching news now from iBrandTV, Lagos. African news now. Rioting triggered by the imprisonment of former South African President Jacob Zuma escalated on Monday. Shopping malls were looted, major roads were blocked by burning tires, and the police and military struggled to contain the violence. The arrest started last week in KwaZulu-Natal province after Zuma was imprisoned for contempt of court. What began as fairly small-scale blocking of roads in Zuma's home area intensified and spread to Gauteng, South Africa's most populous province, including Johannesburg, the country's largest city. One shop owner in Katlinghong, a large township in the Gauteng province, stood in disbelief inside her shop that was looted on Monday. Looting of retail centers broke out in several areas of Johannesburg, including Benmore, Jepstone Town, and Voslunus, on Soweto, and Jubilani, and Durbansville. They were also affected. Now, Tunisian President Kais Saied has received his first dose of vaccine and promises not to lose the war against the coronavirus in Tunisia, where the health situation is considered catastrophic and the vaccination campaign too slow. The country, which recorded only about 50 deaths from March to August 2020, is currently at more than 16,000 deaths, with records of 194 to 109 of daily deaths recorded in recent days. We are in a catastrophic situation. The health system has collapsed, and we can only find a bed in hospitals with great difficulty, said Health Ministry spokesperson Nisaf Ben Adlaya on Monday. Intensive care units are full and there is a severe shortage of oxygen, officials said. The latest aid brings to 2 million vaccine doses donated to Tunisia, where vaccinations are lag far behind other countries. So far, only 730,000 people have been fully vaccinated out of a total of 11.6 million residents. On Monday, Saudi Arabia said it will send a medical aid package to Tunisia, which includes 1 million doses of vaccine to help the North African country control the rapid spread of the virus. While Ons Jabeur, who became the first Arab woman to reach the quarterfinals at Wimbledon last week, announced on Monday that she is auctioning one of her rackets to help hospitals in her native Tunisia to fight COVID-19. Foreign news now. Iran said on Tuesday it was holding talks on prisoner exchanges with the United States aimed at securing the release of Iranians held in U.S. jails and other countries over violations of U.S. sanctions. Negotiations are underway on the exchange of prisoners between Iran and America. We will issue more information if Iranian prisoners are released and the country's interests are secured and the talks reach a conclusion. Government spokesman Ali Robey said Iran's talks with world powers on reviving a 2015 nuclear deal, which the United States quit in 2018, have been suspended for 3 weeks. The deal imposed restrictions on Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for lifting international sanctions. U.S. State Department spokesman Ned Price said on Monday that Washington would not impose a deadline on a 7th round of talks, and only Tehran could determine when talks will resume. Now, the death toll in a fire that spread through the coronavirus hospital in southern Iraq rose to 66. Health officials said on Tuesday, as an angry crowd blaming local authorities for negligence had gathered near the city's morgue. More than 100 others were injured in Monday night's fire in the city of Nasiriyah, which an initial investigation showed began when sparks from faulty wiring spread to an oxygen tank then exploded, local police and civil defense authorities said. In April, a similar explosion at Baghdad COVID-19 hospital killed at least 82 and injured 110. The head of Iraq's semi-official Human Rights Commission said Monday's blast showed how ineffective safety measures in a health system crippled by war and sanctions still were very active. Coming up next is business news. Now, the ascent of the Petroleum Industry Bill by President General Muhammadu Buhari will put an end to petrol subsidy in Nigeria. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, announced on Monday. Silva announced this while speaking at the Nigeria Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries' 50 years of partnership press conference in Abuja. He insisted that it was best for Nigeria that the federal government discontinued subsidy on petrol, stressing that this recently passed PIB had no provision for subsidy. The minister said the removal of subsidy has the potential of unlocking a lot of more funds for deployment to development. And unfortunately, what we are doing by way of subsidy is like cutting our nose to spite our face, he said. The Central Bank of Nigeria has announced that it is developing a tertiary institutions entrepreneurship scheme to train and finance entrepreneurship ideas of Nigerian university graduates. This was disclosed by CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele on Monday at the 35th Conference of Vice Chancellors of Nigerian Universities holding at the Kano State University of Science and Technology. The CBN Governor, who was represented by Adebowale Olabimeto Idowu, CBN Deputy Director Development Finance, urged the need to reorientate youths from waiting for white-collar jobs to entrepreneurship, adding that the scheme would be developed to support the development of entrepreneurial culture through the introduction of seamless access to affordable finance for graduates and, of course, create employment opportunities for Nigerian youths. The Senate on Monday turned down a fresh request from the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing seeking approval for projects already captured in the $434.7 million borrowing plan of the federal government. The borrowing plan had already been approved by the National Assembly last year. The fund was meant to carry out emergency rehabilitation and maintenance of federal roads in the country. The Minister of State Works and Housing, Abubakar Aliyu, appeared from the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts seeking fresh approval of $434.7 projects. Now, but the chairman of the committee, Senator Clifford Odia, quickly responded that the $434.7 million had been approved in the 2016-2018 borrowing plan by the National Assembly. He added that there was no need for the committee to give fresh approval again. Nigeria's current account continued in its negative trajectory in the first quarter of the year to stand at a deficit of $1.75 billion, characterized by a huge trade deficit, a decline in foreign direct investments, as well as remittances. A balance of payment is a statement that records all the monetary transactions made between residents of a country and the rest of the world during any given period. It is ideal in measuring whether a country has a surplus or deficit of funds. Nigeria has recorded a current account BOP deficits continuously for 9 consecutive quarters, and since first quarter of 2019, summing up to a deficit of $33.35 billion in a little over 2 years. This could be largely attributed to a massive gap in Nigeria's trade balance. However, this represents the lowest deficit recorded since first quarter of 2019, which signifies that our net current accounts could enter into positive territory soon. Net current account declined from a deficit of $5.26 billion recorded in the fourth quarter of 2020 to a deficit of $1.75 billion in first quarter of 2021. Coming up next, entertainment news. Nigerian comedian Bright Okpocha, popularly known as Basket Mouth, has welcomed a baby with his wife, LC. The comedian took to his Instagram page on Tuesday, July the 13th, 2021, where he announced the big news. Elsie also took to her Instagram page, where she shared the good news. However, she revealed she had 3 miscarriages before welcoming her 3rd child. Congratulations to the Okpochas. The comedian and his wife have 3 children together. Now, on that note, we cap up the news now here from iBrandTV News Studios in Lagos. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Michael Nath.